He happens to be Hispanic. He happens to be Hispanic, but I've never quite figured it out because he looks more like a WASP than I do.
That's Donald Trump at a rally in New Mexico, and he really wanted to drive the point home that he is friendly toward Hispanics. He loves Hispanics, and the individual he was referring to is Steve Cortes. He's gonna talk about Steve Cortes a little more in videos that we're about to show you. But nonetheless, I do wanna give you one quick statistic that's relevant as we go through all these thoughts or these videos. Trump's disapproval rating among Hispanics stood at 79% in a Pew Research Center poll last month. So Hispanics, not a fan of Donald Trump for obvious reasons.
So he's in New Mexico. He said at one point, how do I lose New Mexico? Explain that one.
And he did lose New Mexico. He lost by 8 points in 2016, and it was because he was focusing on Hispanics.
Yeah, well, you can explain it by the fact that 79% of Hispanics can't stand you, and New Mexico is 50% Hispanic. There, I just explained it.
He's a very stable genius, you already knew that. All right, so with that said, let's take a look at some videos from this rally.
Another great friend of mine, somebody that was on CNN and they didn't like him because he was too positive on Trump, can you believe it? He happens to be Hispanic. He happens to be Hispanic, but I've never quite figured it out because he looks more like a WASP than I do. So I haven't figured that one out. But I'll tell you what, there is nobody that loves this country more or Hispanic more than Steve Cortes. Steve. Nobody loves the Hispanics more. What do you like more, the country or the Hispanics? He says the country, I don't know. I may have to go for the Hispanics, to be honest with you. We got a lot of Hispanics.
I mean, look, Trump claims that no one loves Hispanics more, but he hasn't met me.
Yeah, well, that's true too.
But nonetheless, so he's talking about Steve Cortes. Let's go to graphic 2, because this is who he's referring to. I gotta be honest with you guys, I had never really heard of Steve Cortes until I debated him on Cuomo's show.
Oh, right, you debated him, that's right, that's right. So he's a Trump supporter, and he's also, as Trump would call him, a Hispanic. Which actually is a little bit better than the way Trump phrased it.
Right.
Oh, no one likes the Hispanic more than Steve Cortes. Well, okay, if you're Hispanic, you might like Hispanics like yourself and the rest of your family. That makes sense. But actually, out of all the absurd things he said in that particular clip, and we got a lot more where that came from, the one that was the most absurd was, what do you like more, the country or Hispanics? Why is that? No, why is that an or? Because you see, he views Hispanics as an other.
Yeah, as the others.
So they're not part of the country. That's why the question of, do you like the country or Hispanics? Yeah, so that's damning. When he said, I can't tell if he looks more Hispanic or more like a WASP, I don't mind that. It's just, how does a person look, their shape? It's another person saying it might be offensive. Donald Trump is like, in the bottom quartile of offensive things that he has said. And if he just left it at that, it would be no big deal. But when you view Hispanics as something that is foreign and outside of the real country, that betrays your real point of view on how you view Latinos here.
Well, he's not done yet. Let's take a look at the next clip.
At the center of America's drug crisis, this is where the Hispanics know it better than anybody. People said, oh, the Hispanics won't like a wall. I said, I think they're gonna love it. They won't like border security. I think they're gonna love it. You know why? Because you understand it better than other people. But at the whole center of this crisis is the drugs that are pouring in, and you understand that when other people don't understand it. Everyday dangerous criminal cartels smuggle vast quantities of lethal narcotics across your southern border.
Wow, I really think this rally and approach to reach out to Hispanic voters is gonna work out for him.
Yeah.
You know?
So,
I'm sure they're gonna love that.
A minor point and a major point. The minor point is there's a couple of Latinos behind him, and there's a couple of white folks behind him, and the white folks are like, oh yeah, they understand the drugs, they really do. And you see one of the guys in the background like shaking his head like this, and I have no idea what he means by that. He might be thinking, oh, the drugs, they're terrible and I agree with Trump, or he might be thinking, no, we don't understand it better than anyone else. He does it near the end. So in the beginning, as you see, he's shaking his head, or nodding his head. But guys, at some point, walk out. Right? I mean, how much of this are you gonna take? It's incredibly embarrassing.
I gotta be honest. I mean, let's put the video back up as B-roll because no one behind him really looks happy or excited. In fact, the young woman on the lower right-hand side looks like she's crying. The woman on the second row who's next to the guy on the left-hand side, she looks like she's kind of disgusted by it. I don't know. I mean, look, we're just guessing what they're thinking or what they're feeling. I don't know if they're actually supporters. I mean, obviously they specifically, strategically place people behind Trump during these rallies.
So in case you don't know that, that's the most relevant portion of that, which is they put, if you remember how he said, oh, there's my African American in a rally from a couple of years ago. That guy came out this week and said, I no longer support Trump or the Republican Party because it turns out they're racist. A little late to the party, okay, but at least he recognized it. But they find their 3 Hispanic Americans and put them behind him. I don't know if they're paid or not because he has done that in previous Trump rallies. But again, that's the minor point. Let's go to the major point. His mind is littered with stereotypes. So when he went to speak in front of Republican Jewish leaders, he said, I mean, nobody likes to renegotiate more than this room, right? Because in his mind, Jews will back out of a deal, Jews are backstabbing, they'll renegotiate, and they're crafty, and all the crazy tropes and stereotypes he's got in his head, right? When it comes to Latinos, he's like, well, nobody understands drugs better than Latinos. That's his going assumption. And so, but he'll turn around and say, and his supporters will say, no, what do you mean he's racist? He just told you, he loves the Hispanic, right? No, guys, you don't get it, man. The guy's brain is filled with this sewage of racist stereotypes. That's why when the hurricane hits Puerto Rico, he implies that they're lazy and that it was their fault.
Well, look, people who would make that argument aren't being honest, and they know. They know, because it's not about one rally where he says one nice thing, what he determines to be a nice thing about Hispanics. It's about his entire history and everything that he said against the Hispanic community over and over again. In fact, wouldn't it be awesome if we had a super senior producer like J.R. Jackson to put together a mashup of all those instances? Oh, I guess we do. So why don't we go to that mashup? This is Donald Trump talking about Hispanics.
We love our Hispanics. Get out and vote. The asylum program is a scam. You know, I look at some of these asylum people, they're gang members. They're not afraid of anything. You look at this guy, you say, wow, that's a tough cookie. I am very fearful for my life. I am very worried that I will be accosted. And they say, I fear for my life. They're the ones that are causing fear for life. No, he'll do the accosting. They're bringing drugs. This judge is of Mexican heritage. I'm building a wall, okay? I'm building a wall. They're bringing crime. This is an invasion. When you see these caravans starting out with 20,000 people, that's an invasion.
But he's American. He's an American.
He's of Mexican heritage, and he's very proud of it. We're taking people out of the country. You wouldn't believe how bad these people are. These aren't people. These are animals. They're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people.
If you are saying he can't do his job because of his race, is that not the definition of racism?
No, I don't think so at all. We love our Hispanics. Get out and vote.
Look, that was devastating. But even the sentence, we love our Hispanics, is deeply problematic. If you can't see why, you're like, these social justice warriors, they nitpick everything. What is our Hispanics? It implies that they're not part of us, right? It implies almost ownership. Like, these Hispanics that are ours, the ones that aren't ours is problematic. In fact, the great majority of them. I don't know if he means R as in the Republican Hispanics.
Probably, I don't know. I don't know what he means. What I do know is that, okay, his words are one thing. And you're right, there are some on the right who will just brush it off as social justice warriors who are offended by language. But it's not just about language, it's about the actions behind his language. It's about what he has done and how he has not only dehumanized, but brutalized innocent people at the border who are seeking asylum. More than 24 of them have died under his watch in cages that he put them in. Half of them were kids, not half of them, about a quarter of them were children. So it's just disgusting when people try to brush it off as, oh, it's just a bunch of social justice warriors who are offended by language. No, this isn't a Bill Burr comedy special, okay? This is real life. This is Donald Trump, the president of the United States, brutalizing and dehumanizing actual human beings to the point where they literally die. That's what this is about.
And then let's do the classic, what if it was Obama? And look, if you're a MAGA guy, just try to be honest with yourself for the first time in your life. If Obama had come out and said, we love our whites. I mean, look, there's a lot of the whites are rapists and criminals and
mass shooters.
Yeah, I guess there's some good people on the white side too. And look, we love our whites. The whites are good. The whites are good. But we got to watch out for them and be careful about the whites. But don't worry, guys. I just told you I love our whites. What do you think your reaction would be? You would go nuts. You would lose your mind, right? And you know that what I'm saying is 100% true. So when Trump says it about Hispanics, the reason you don't mind is because you're not Hispanic. And you think, yeah, those are our Hispanics, and a lot of them are dangerous, unlike us good white people. What does that make you? Thanks for watching this free clip of the Young Turks. Don't forget to become a TYT member today. For more exclusive content, join now at tyt.com/join.